Your baby isn't staring at nothing. I know it's hard to believe, especially when you watch them lie there, eyes fixed on a blank ceiling for what feels like forever. But researchers studying infant vision discovered something that completely changes what that stillness means. What looks like an empty stare is actually one of the busiest things happening in your baby's entire day. And once you understand it, you'll never look at that ceiling the same way again. Let's get to the point. Your baby's eyes aren't unfocused or blurry. They're actually staring at something very specific, maybe a spot of paint on the wall, a shadow, or the edge where the ceiling and wall meet. It may not seem like much to you, but to your baby's little brain, it's the most interesting thing in the room right now. Researchers call this visual fixation, and it's one of the earliest tools a baby's brain has for understanding the world. Before babies can crawl, before they can grab, before they can even track a moving toy reliably, they can stare. And it turns out, this endless staring is not a passive act at all. It's how an infant brain practices focus before it has any other way to practice it. A study on infant visual attention found that babies are drawn specifically to edges, contrast, and boundaries, not because the colors are pretty, but because edges are where the most visual information lives. A blank ceiling with a single seam or shadow line is, to a baby's brain, genuinely rich with information. It's not nothing, it's data. This part of the research is the most interesting. The same researchers found that this kind of sustained visual attention in early infancy is one of the strongest predictors of attention regulation later in childhood. Babies who spend more time in this quiet, fixed gaze state, rather than being constantly redirected toward toys, faces, or stimulation, tend to develop longer attention spans by the time they reach toddlerhood. The stillness isn't empty time, it's training time. I want to be honest about something here. Not every blank stare means deep focus. Sometimes babies do genuinely zone out, especially when overtired or overstimulated. I'm not asking you to treat every ceiling stare as a profound developmental event. What I am asking is that you stop assuming it's always a problem. Because the instinct in Western parenting is to fill every quiet moment, dangle a toy, make a sound, get a reaction, and sometimes that instinct interrupts something valuable. The Japanese have a great concept of raising children that fits perfectly in this situation. It is mimamoru, which means simply keeping an eye on the child from a distance without disturbing them in their activities. Japanese parents or caregivers are taught to notice the child's inner state before engaging in any interaction with them. They don't think about how to get a response from the child, but rather, they think about, what is the child doing on his own right now that I don't need to poke my nose into? When a child stares at the ceiling, adhering to this mimamoru means that he is lying quietly. That is actually his main job right now. He is not sitting idly. In practice, this is what it means. The next time you see your child staring at the ceiling, the wall, or a shadow, resist the urge to interrupt. Don't assume they're bored. Don't assume there's a problem. Give them 60 seconds. Look into their eyes without trying to distract them. Notice whether they're genuinely distracted or quietly deep in thought. Most of the time, you'll see the latter. And here comes the part that surprises most parents. Allowing this staring tendency to run its course doesn't make the child unstimulated. Rather, it creates a child whose brain gets uninterrupted practice at the very thing every parent says they want more of in the future attention. The 2 minutes of staring at the ceiling today are silently related to the attention on homework, attention on reading, or attention on conversation that you'll expect many years from now. So this is your practice for this week. Once a day, when your baby fixes on something plain and ordinary, sit nearby and simply watch with them. Don't narrate, don't point. Don't fill the silence. Just notice what they're noticing. You may not always know exactly what's captured their attention. That's fine. The watching itself is the practice for both of you. This is the truth that no one tells you. A child who can lie still and stare at a small object for several minutes at a time is not inattentive. They are doing the basic, invisible work of learning to pay attention to one thing for more than a moment. That ceiling is not empty. That is a classroom you never knew existed. Your baby isn't staring at nothing. They're learning how to focus, one quiet ceiling at a time. If this changed the way you see those quiet moments, share it with a parent who needs to hear it. And if you want more on the hidden science behind your baby's everyday behavior, subscribe. There's a lot more coming. See you in the next one.